Hi everybody, it's Dawn here, and I get to work with the subtle energy of land, space and people in order to support health and well-being as well as abundance. And this channel really is focused on spiritual and metaphysical topics, and it's designed to help us to all learn and grow. And today's video is about psychic protection and why it's important and why it should be a regular practice for everyone. Now, I spend a lot of time talking to friends and clients about how to keep their subtle energy clear and healthy, and this includes psychic protection. And I think that having a regular practice of psychic protection really is a must for everyone. However, there are a lot of different ideas as to what it is and how to do it. So I'm going to break it down for you from my perspective and from my experience. Now, as I always say, everyone has their own ideas and thoughts, and who am I to say I'm right and they're wrong? So take anything that resonates with what I say and find your own truth. So let's start with what psychic protection is and why it's important. Well, we're surrounded by subtle energy, and it really is impossible to remove ourselves from it. So energies from the land, from man-made frequencies like Wi-Fi and electrical equipment, even other people's subtle energy, thoughts and emotions are things that we are influenced by 24/7. Now, lots of people aren't aware of these influences or aren't paying attention to them. However, they are being influenced nonetheless. And for people who are especially sensitive or empathic, they often have difficulty separating themselves from others. Now, over time, these influences can impact our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. So psychic protection is really the setting of energetic boundaries so that we can maintain our own subtle energy's sovereignty. It's about taking conscious control of our subtle energy body and limiting the influence that these external energies can have on us. Now, I want to emphasize that these influences do take their toll on us. Even the people who don't believe these things tell me that they can feel exhausted around certain people, or can feel down for no reason at all, or even creeped out in parts of their home, or when they enter into different rooms and locations. And it can feel like we've been sideswiped by something we cannot see nor really understand. And it can shift us from feeling happy to sad, mad or depleted over time. And this can show up in chronic health issues. But the good news is you don't have to suffer. There's a lot that you can do. Setting psychic boundaries around this energetic contact limits the degree to which you are affected. Now, exploring the concept and practice of psychic protection, I get to see that there are many different viewpoints and even words that we use. And I think that words are important as they convey meaning which may or may not be shared by others. Now, many of us use the word psychic protection. I do myself. But I think these words can be misconstrued. The word protection refers to keeping something or someone safe. Through protection, we shelter and we defend things, which is factually true when we apply it to the practice of psychic protection, but it can infuse a sense of fear into the practice. Having to defend ourselves to protect ourselves from negative forces can seem frightening as a prospect. And when we bring this emotion into the practice, it's counterproductive, particularly for the outcome that we're trying to achieve. Now, the word psychic protection can also suggest that the only way to survive is to cut ourselves off from others to stay healthy, to separate ourselves from the subtle energies that we live our lives surrounded by. And I think that this couldn't be further from the truth, and it actually can affect the efficacy of what we want to achieve. It can turn it from a practice of strength to one more fear-based. It's not about cutting ourselves off or isolating ourselves from the forces that impact us. It's actually an act of loving ourselves and having agency over our subtle energy body so that we can navigate this energetic soup in our daily lives successfully, remaining healthy and connected to those around us. So for me, a better way to label this practice is energetic boundary setting, which is really the intentional practice of creating and keeping our own personal energetic boundary. And the goal is to be consciously able to choose to experience another person's energy while being able to separate ourselves from it and maintain our own subtle energy identity. It's about being able to walk in the world free from unwanted subtle energy influences so that you can positively interact with your environment and the things within it, and to keep yourself whole in the process. Now, before we go into how to create our own personal energetic boundaries, I'm hoping that you can subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my content. 80% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed, and I'm hoping to be able to grow the numbers of subscribers so that the YouTube algorithm helps to get my videos out to a wider audience. You know, and I didn't realise how important this was for small channels like me. I'd watch lots of content not subscribed. I now subscribe to every channel I watch a video on that I like, as it shows my support for the work that they do. It really does make all the difference, and I appreciate you listening to me. So getting back to how to create your energetic boundary. There are so many different things that we can do to reinforce our energetic boundaries, from crystals or the wearing of amulets to visualization. There are many choices we have, and it's about finding the right approach for you. However, I do think there are a couple of key things for us to remember as we develop our process. So firstly, it's a practice, meaning that it's something that you do regularly. I set my energy boundary daily upon waking. If we wait until we feel influenced by external subtle energy and to try and create our boundary, then it's too late. So best to do it at the start of the day. That doesn't mean to say that there's a time when I want to reinforce the boundary. I call it double bubbling, and I do it when I'm about to enter a space or a conversation that I know will be a challenge for me. It's reinforcing, not creating. An example would be before I visit a supermarket. I'm continually challenged in these spaces, so although I have my energetic boundary already in place, I reinforce it before I go in. It's an extra layer, if you will. Another important thing to remember is intention. Setting the intention for the practice is critical. I want to create a boundary but not cut myself off from others. I don't want energetic influences that don't serve my highest good, but I welcome anything in that affirms me. So I'm very clear about the rules of the boundary I'm setting. I come from a place of loving intention and work from my heart. When we come from love, we can create miracles. And finally, it's helpful if you clear your subtle energy before you set up your boundary. Otherwise, you're sealing in the things that don't serve you. So before I set my personal energetic boundary each morning, I take a little time clearing my subtle energy field beforehand. It doesn't have to be an elaborate ritual. It could be as simple as a few words spoken. You can imagine a light running through and around yourself to clear stale energy, or even set the intention for the shower water to clear away the unwanted energetic debris, as well as the physical cleansing that's about to take place. Bottom line, it doesn't have to be elaborate, just intentional. Have a go at putting energetic boundaries in place and see how it feels. I bet you have more energy and are able to take on the day and its challenges more easily. Now, I hope this video has dispelled a few myths about psychic protection and maybe helped you to develop your own practices. In future videos, I am going to be covering topics like how to clear your subtle energy field, as well as different ways you can create your own personal subtle energy boundary. I do have a video on my top 10 protection crystals, which I will link in the description below. And I also plan to release a video on psychic warding, which is more related to the setting up of subtle energy boundaries of physical space. So please do subscribe, hit the bell so that you get notified when it goes up. Ta-ta for now.